The people were not in favor of forgiving the Romans, the border warriors, the storm-like passing legionaries, those who brought about the collapse, or the elites living in marble palaces. Because the people do not easily forgive very great crimes, every passing day there was a new demand for money. Even after the highest payments, still more was demanded. People did not want to deal with invaders, nor with corruption. People only wanted to breathe easily and move freely. In fact, everything began with the loss of the value of money. Rome experienced its downfall through the loss of the value of money. If money, the foundation of the economy, is used incorrectly, the entire system collapses. Now let us set the scene. There are 100 people in Rome and the economy looks quite good. The first step is taken in 211 BC. While the issue of rent had not yet been resolved, there was a system that had been continuing for a long time. The Romans achieved very great things within the system, but they gave enormous effort for it, and after a while they would face serious difficulties. The denarius was a coin different from other coins. Its value could change according to its metal content. Over time, this metal was reduced to lower levels. Restrictions were increasing. Taxes became very heavy and turned into monthly payments. The number of travelers coming to Rome increased day by day. Trade turned into money. But it was not possible for money to be sufficient for the entire community. The soldiers protecting the empire were expensive. Legionaries had to be fed, skulls collected, roads and aqueducts built. All of this all required financing. In the centuries after Christ, Rome became unable to carry this burden. With military costs, we gained absolutely nothing. This is an example of that old game, cheat, forna drelsa. Just to have a denser population, I preferred reducing the value of money. The first restrictions under Augustus's rule reached 95%. Under Caracalla, it restarted with a 50% drop, down to 50%. Under Gallienus, only 5% remained. Most importantly, while dealing with passive metal, it could even go as far as bronzing with bronze. The people did this, and did more. Inflation is complete. It is very useful to be careful, because you have very little time to get your money back. And this, at the greatest cost in 1 denarius, came at a much cheaper price. This is not an abstract theory. This was one of the most vivid aspects of the best novels. Soldiers demanded more money. In return, you have to pay even more money. Merchants accepted months of theft and chose either to make money or to take great risks. The local economy provides direct hand-to-hand savings because it is not possible for value to last long, and only by spending more time did we gain information elsewhere earlier. These have, in the same period, a cycle that is fully on the inflationary side. The crisis peaked in the category of crisis between 235 and 284 after Christ, after Rome was abandoned halfway, invaders, pirates, debts, and economic collapse. For the best political drama and a harsh financial system, it became clear that Landsnet was left in a very desperate position regarding purchasing. For bread control. For systematic bread control. The essence of Vircode. Diocletianus gave up stopping the bleeding, after Christ, after making regulations in the Maximum Edict. In 301, prices were set very quickly, and payments occurred very rapidly. Violators were replaced by death. There is regulation, but disaster is at the door. Necessary inspections were not allowed, yet nothing was done on their own. This kind of economic growth occurred, and officially reached the level of collapse. The people were made to suffer at least once more in love, until Rome was taken back. Constantine the Great, after Christ in 312, introduced solid goods that were constantly renewed. In terms of stability, it was restored and improved hundreds of times across the world, or in the Byzantine Empire. This knowledge of the old empire, Stoichictes, caused fatal events. In return for 1 denarius, there was a Rome at the core. You do not have to make more transactions, use networks, or spend more time. The Romans, lacking a service initially provided, were preferred for a long time and continued to be valued. Trade continued very intensively. This shows that destruction at a higher level is the destruction of an empire. Meanwhile, right now, we sit among people within a month, which is not something memorable for us. Modern returns can similarly be attempted as rental or purchase transactions. In the end, the same thing emerged. The people were fined, fraudulent, bad things occurred, and currencies collapsed. Due to the difficulty of the method, they were injured less, and by ignoring it, things became worse. Historians stopped carrying out secret missions after Rome. Alongside the same great risk, there is a greater inflation risk rate. To earn money in exchange for a salary, elite groups must position themselves positively, and everything later returns to the bank. Value increase is simple, and then a plan to obtain additional income, a collapse plan. We returned hundreds of times, and additionally returned. Then the First World War. Under the Versailles administration, Germany was left behind to make a better effort. Every day we try to earn more money by making effort and struggle. This allows Rome to stand longer. In 1923, hyperinflation increased. For a fee for the war, it cost over $200 billion in expenses after the same year. Public interest in this increased day by day. Retirements collapsed while their life savings evaporated. And just like in those cases, regarding inflation caused by inflation, most of the time they activate the reals, land, factories, country values, and come out stronger. Money became meaningless. And economically, it was nothing but radical politics that negatively fueled Hitler's views. Zimbabwe did the same after the 2000s. Low production, little production, reproduction for low-cost sales, and the ropes ran out for printing attempts. In 2008, I saw inflation at a very low level, around 89.7 sextillion%. Prices doubled every day. The shops did nothing that would give relief at any time to recover Zimbabwe until they had good value and citizens by controlling the US dollar or South Africa. Eventually, a group returned. They returned one day. The last person became popular among the people. Men do not know this extremity. In my own way, modern and economically, there are very, very bad ones. Go to the USA. In 1971, President Richard Nixon was seen as accepting a dollar with good standards, and at the same time better and less costly. This is a money full of money, remaining in monetary value. Not good at all, until it comes back to men. And just like Rome, the temptation to use went all the way to the end. Resilient. I believe I will gain more income, and as I earn money, inflation constantly moves toward lower levels. I spent very little money, but around me I suffered great loss of value. In 1971, $1 was money that ended with only $6 a day. The mountains are ours. Banknotes have hope. Men are happy. Cheating is the same, with inflation rising again. By chance, while things are better for a longer time, it causes much greater damage, albeit rarely. Experts gain some investments. I have no personal financier. As a brand operating at a certain level, we cannot allow ourselves more activity. Some romantic games, fundamentally, always, everywhere, always, are forgiving about staying inactive longer and role-playing. This is much farther and global when we look at today. The collapse of the Romans is an imperial crisis. Weimar hyperinflation is national. Zimbabwe's is local. People and I lost more time. Fiat is valuable, high income, and central banker driven. A village that will reach billions of dollars by stepping into crisis. In fact, this new collapse is not enough to take a new step toward an empire or territories. This expresses much more importance. And this past, as a leader activating millionaire men, borrowing, pensions, and other currencies, is a leader seen only as having high value. Are you tired of achieving personal success and valuing Rome's? For this, first of all, inflation is not correct, more political. This is a very harsh obligation for us. Therefore, in a real sense, I have difficulty finding a document on paper or elsewhere. Then I activate it, nothing else. The world is a resource that enables better production to emerge. This also applies to permanent stability. The Romans had grain in their first 100 towns, because later there was much more in the village. The Germans in the town of 1913 had a three-dimensional tank, filled with cash. Zimbabwe was one of the most beloved passions in the 1980s. Everything also developed and returned. Regarding the financial process, one must be careful, because they can cover a very long period and therefore may not earn much money. Do not spend money on any reels. Start paying yourself back. Make contracts by mistake. Do the same things. Do more, and return legally. Although barbarians are low in terms of modern statistical data, they can obtain a good result, and I want to say this. History does not repeat itself. When it has not yet begun, they are not in a position to solve everything. Value increase is nothing but first class or elite class. Some people, despite great mistakes, were handled remarkably, and this is very important. If you have a new perspective, try an experiment. History is very beautiful and everything is going well. Small steps bring big steps.